Junkie walking in the twilight. I'm a long, long way from home. I left home 3 days ago. Y'all keep saying, kick it, quit it, Lord. But did you ever try to turn your sick soul inside out so that the world can watch you die? Hi, Annette 75. Just me, Twinkle, Shakira, God before everything. That's a nice reminder. Use that name, bro. Crystal F. How y'all? Well, I was just hope I didn't get COVID. I just got off a damn bus. I don't generally take buses. I live in a walkable neighborhood. So most places I go, I can get to by walking. And if I have to go somewhere outside of my neighborhood, then I go on the train, right? But some neighborhoods are not accessible by any other means other than a bus. I got off the damn bus. Now I got a cough. I don't think COVID comes that fast. Maybe I picked up something else. I don't know. I wore a mask. Anyway, that's not what I'm here to talk about. Hi, Elaine. I am Mrs. Ricks and Prima One. I came here when I was on the bus. I was listening to this YouTube, and I stumbled onto this video made by Treasure Lane, aka James Caldwell, on yesterday. Right now, I realized that they were being shady on there by someone admitting whatever the admission. We'll get to that in a minute, but it brought up an interesting subject to me, so I'm going to talk about it now. So the subject was, can a person, after identifying themselves as a recovering alcoholic, can that person later on boast of sobriety if they still smoke weed? I think it's a reasonable question, right? So in my experience, recovery is not about one size fits all, right? Many times people, when they think of recovery from drugs and alcohol, they think of the 12-step program. In other words, the 12-step program has a certain way of thinking about drugs and alcohol. But basically, they don't make they don't make a difference. They don't differentiate. If you are an alcoholic, then you shouldn't be doing drugs as well. That's kind of the reason why I'm not in 12-step. And no, I do not use any drugs at all. But let me see. Let me get my bearings here. 12-step believes that you don't use anything, right? Many people are in 12-step, have struggled with this new idea of smoking weed is okay. And yes, those people do exist. It is not impossible to go from being a drunk to a person who smokes weed. Now, it's not recommended, and it's definitely not recommended in the 12-step program. Most people, particularly if they're calling themselves someone's sponsor, will tell you, no, that is extremely dangerous. I'll tell you, in my experience, when I was in 12-step in my 20s, every time I ended up back on drugs or I relapsed, as they call it, I always started by smoking weed. It's just my experience. So my experience has taught me that no, we don't do nothing. We don't get high, period, right? But that is not necessarily the case for a lot of people. I do know people who smoke weed. As a matter of fact, it seems like almost everybody smokes weed now. The difference between weed and having a glass of wine, I don't see that big a difference, honey. Some people, they have a drink after work. They've been doing that for 30 years. They've never become an alcoholic. Every person who has a glass of wine with their dinner does not become a wino. But we all know that some people do. They literally become winos. They get hooked on wine, cheap wine. Thunderbird, Mad Dog 2020. Woo, that's a bad one. What was the other one? You had all that cheap alcohol. But not everybody who drinks is going to become an alcoholic. As a matter of fact, I would guess probably 80-90% of people who drink do not become alcoholics, right? Now, I think there are various degrees to this stuff, because when you think of a classic alcoholic, or you think of somebody who's drunk all the time, right? A person who loses their jobs, beats their wife, and all the negative things associated with alcoholism. We know what an alcoholic is when we see one, but a lot of people are in 12 step who do not qualify for any of those things. They don't beat their wife. They go to work every day, but they recognize they have a problem with alcohol. And that's where I was in my 20s. I just went out every night, right? And drank. So I called myself an alcoholic. I would argue today that I wasn't really an alcoholic. I was never physically addicted to alcohol. I was addicted to going out every night and partying, which is what a whole lot of young people do, right? A whole lot of young people experiment with weed, with alcohol. Y'all know the stories, honey. Have a crash in their teens and never touch alcohol again. There's all different kinds of stories, but I don't believe that one size fits all. And my big problem with 12 step was they seem to think that their 12 step method was the only method by which a person could become clean. The 12 step are simply a 12 steps to a better understanding of your relationship with God. So I think I should have brought it with me. The last step, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of working these steps, we sought to spread the message, I believe is how it goes, something like that. So I hadn't been to a 12-step meeting in 17 years. I don't have a sponsor or don't have a 12-step meeting. And then my experience has been a lot of people in the church, most of us have had experience in the church. We know that we use the language, I am delivered. Now, all my experience with 12 step, and I was in there for several years. This is my 20s. I relapsed all through my 30s. But it wasn't until I came across the language, I am delivered. I receive it. I accept it. I am not touching no more booze, drink, no nothing, right? That's the language in the church. It has nothing to do with alcohol, with AA or NA. Many people will tell you that, okay, you made that commitment, you accepted, God has delivered you, but now you need to go to 12-step meetings. You need the support. And sometimes you need support for a while, whatever. Anyway, I said all that to say, James was saying in the beginning of his last video that a person, after they raise their hand and say, I am an alcoholic, then that means that they won't do other drugs, right? Including marijuana. Now, the whole country is damn near, baby, stop. The whole country is, it's almost legal everywhere, right? I know it's legal here to smoke weed. And so everybody who smokes weed doesn't become a drug addict. If everybody who smoked weed became a drug addict, then the government would not have approved it to be legalized, right? So I think they called that one wrong for a lot of years, where they were punishing people severely for just smoking weed, right? So the government seems to decide what is good and what is bad, right? And we all know that drinking alcohol is legal. It's been legal since the 1940s, somewhere like that, since that temporary ban they had on it. But alcohol is legal, right? But everybody didn't run out and become an alcoholic because it's illegal. So, and I do participate in another group. It's not a recovery group. It's just a group. I'm a facilitator. And I recognize that a lot of people in the groups, they smoke weed. And I don't have any judgment about it. As a matter of fact, I consider you blessed. If you can smoke weed and it doesn't lead to any other drugs, I think it's a blessing, right? Some people will say that's not a blessing because it's going to make you lazy. And all you're going to do is sit around eating and watching TV. A lot of people will say, well, God damn it, I did my work. I did my 8 hours. I'm tired. My feet hurt. And I want to smoke me a joint, right? It just depends, honey. I have no judgment about it. I think if you can smoke weed and it doesn't progress to anything, if you can drink and you don't, without getting drunk every night, then it's not an issue for you. So he was saying that the person in question is smoking weed. So is that sober? Let me tell you what happened to me. There's a drug program here in San Francisco and all over California. I don't know if they extend outside of California. It's called Walden House, right? Walden House is the biggest program in California. I went through the program. I had them they picked me up at the prison. At my last prison stint was at Vacaville State Prison. They sent someone all the way out to Vacaville, a couple hours drive, to get me and deliver me into the hands of Walden House, right? And I completed. It was only a 90-day program, so I completed that, and I went into like another program which I was in for 4.5 years. Anyway, at Walden House, only 2 people in that 90-day program actually finished the program, right? Now, the people will tell you that relapse is part of recovery, so many people won't get it the first time. I didn't get it. I got it the second time there. Anyway, only 2 of us from that house graduated or qualified to be graduated, right? And so we went to one of the big Walden houses to take our graduation, get a certificate or whatever. I wonder if I still have that. I don't know. Yeah, I put it on the wall. I don't like thinking about drugs. Anyway, only 2 of us graduated, right? And before the ceremony, they have a once-a-year ceremony because they had several houses and buildings. Correct. So there was only 2 out of that house, but there were several houses. And backstage, before we accepted our award, the staff, this is the top staff, came back behind stage to tell both of us at the same time. My other friend, he's still clean too. It's been over 20 years. He said, "You listen, you guys know you can drink now if you want to." I don't know why this man felt like I need his permission to drink, but what he was telling us, because I guess they were saying Walden House was a drug program, right? Although most people don't differentiate. It's not different for me. It's one, either alcohol is just another drug. But anyway, I was kind of perturbed by that. I said, "Why would you say something like that?" I don't say the guy's name, but why would you say that? He said, "Because it's the truth. We're a harm reduction program, and written in our contract, we have to tell you that you can drink. This is a drug program. You've completed the drug program." So my point is, and I was offended by it because I know myself well enough to know that I can't be smoking no weed. I can't be definitely not doing no hard drugs, but I can't be drinking either. But for them, they believe that if you are a person who was hanging out at the club, somebody offered you a little crack and you liked it and you got strung out on crack, right? And crack became your drug of choice. Their thinking is that you can stop crack. Crack is your issue. Crack is the thing that destroyed you. Crack is the thing that sent you to prison. Crack is the thing that turned you into a criminal, right? But you can do other things besides crack. You just had addiction to that one thing. You did meth. Meth destroyed your life. You can just, we want to get you off of your primary drug, but you can go right on back to your normal life. I don't believe that's true. At least it's not for me. I guess it is for some people. For me, if I do anything, that I'm likely to end up doing what I really want to do, which would be hard drugs like a crystal meth. So anyway, I said all that to say, I don't believe that one size does fit all. I do believe that many people who used to do drugs don't do drugs anymore. Doing drugs, it starts out usually as a youthful thing, but not everybody who was a hippie in the 60s became falling down drug addicts. It just didn't happen. But they can also tell you that in their youth, they used drugs. I live, if you go up 3 blocks from here, is the Haight-Ashbury, right? That was the scene of the biggest hippie community in the country back in the 60s, right? And those people use drugs. If you watch any of the documentaries on the 60s, you'll see people took acid and people did drugs, but those people are running the country right now. So most didn't become drug addicts. And also, you will sometimes encounter these people who their hair is long and they're still basically hippies. They're basically stuck, right? So not everybody becomes a drug addict, is what I'm saying. So I guess my answer to the question before I talk to you guys is it is rare, but it does happen to a lot of people. Some people do just smoke weed and it doesn't become a big deal. Some people, most people drink something and it doesn't become a big deal. There's only a few, a fringe people. But I will say that Caldwell did make one good point. After you identified yourself as an alcoholic or a drug addict, it is very risky for you to go playing around with drugs because it basically comes down to one question: I still want to get high. Hey, people, how y'all doing? How y'all doing tonight? I thought it'd be an interesting subject. What y'all think? Many people say I got 25 years clean, honey. We got so many stories in 12 step. When I used to go, people were clean for 15 years. They were at a party. They met some cute little woman or whatever. They trying to impress her and things are not going well at home. And they just said, hell, I've been clean for 15 years. I can have a little sip. Falling down drunks and never got back. Sometimes they never make it back, right? So you're playing Russian roulette with your life after you identify what your issue is. Now, James went on to say that he had an experience where he likes to play bingo, and he's noticed that a lot of people who used to do crack, they can't control themselves when they play bingo, right? They while most people order just 4 or 5 tickets, I think they're probably getting more than that if they're going every day, every week or whatever. Anyway, he identified this addictive type personality where the person is out of control. But you don't have to be a drug addict or an alcoholic to have a problem with gambling. They're totally different things, right? There's all kind of vices in the world, honey. Right? If your vice is picking up prostitutes and you done spent all your damn money and you done went into the family money because you got to pick up prostitutes, that's your addiction. It's got nothing to do with alcoholism. It ain't got nothing to do with drug addiction. You can be addicted to all kind of stuff. A lot of us are overweight right now because we can't stop eating, honey. I'm just saying it is the truth. And they have Overeaters Anonymous, you know, they got all kind of programs for everything. Some people have too much sex, they got Sex Anonymous, everything. Most of those anonymous things are 12-step programs. And I'm not mad at 12-step. If I encounter somebody trying to get clean, the first thing I'm gonna tell them is go to 12-step meetings, right? So it works better than pretty much anything else. But I also believe in deliverance. I believe it. I experienced it myself when I turned my faith over to God through Christ. I believe the story. It changed my whole world, right? So after being locked up in prison every year for 10 years, I walked out, and believe it or not, I just knew it was over. I got out every year. And before that, I mean, it's total 17 years in and out of jail, in and out, in and out, in and out. Never even occurred to me. Then all of a sudden, it's deliverance. I'm delivered. I accept it. I receive it. No one can convince me that I am not delivered, right? I've learned through trial and error. But at the same time, I know that I am delivered from drug. God has delivered me. The Spirit of God has delivered me, right? Same time I know that I can't use drugs. I don't have no desire to use drugs. I use enough drugs for everybody in this chat, honey. Uh-huh. Hi, Miss Tracy. Let me go back up here. How you doing, Miss Tracy? I see your boys over there. He getting some work. They give him the work about them shoes, honey. We're here to talk about her. Okay. What is worse on a person, you think? Alcohol or drugs? Same, Ed Gee. If you go down to Skid Row, those people, all they doing is drinking cheap wine. All they doing is drinking Thunderbird. And they are in just the baddest shape as a full-blown junkie. So Of course, it depends on the person, but I would say both of them can be bad if you abuse them. If you get hooked, they're extremely addictive things. But alcohol is one of the worst of all, and it's been legal, for eons. But if you get really hooked on alcohol, you have withdrawal symptoms. You are violent. You wreck cars. You drive drunk. You have all kind of behavior that could be happening with alcohol. You know how violent people get when they're drunk. So I would say the same. The drug I was on, of course, I made it public, is crystal meth, right? But I was in any worse shape because I was in crystal meth than I was when I was drinking alcohol. When I was drinking alcohol, I was hooked on going out. Is what the issue was. I was a young gay boy in Hollywood, and I just got hooked on going out. But I went out every single night, all through my 20s. I didn't miss a night, honey. I would panic when a holiday would come and the bar would be closed. But I interpreted that as being an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. So yeah, my answer, Iggy, is I think both are bad if you get hooked on them. Not one is not better than the other. Some drugs, however, will kill you, like this thing they have going down with fentanyl. Fentanyl wasn't around when I was out there, but people are dying and getting hooked on this stuff. And in a city like this, you're seeing serious drug addicts. Heroin will kill you. Most opiates can be abused and will kill you. Meth is extremely addictive. It will change your world. You will lose interest in your home, your family. You will lose interest in everything except for getting high. That's why people get dangerous on drugs, because it's all about the next high. Mm-hmm. So you ain't gonna ever got to worry about Timothy Blaine coming on here high on shit. And when I had surgery, they put you on I think it's called oxycodone. And a lot of opiate people who used to use heroin and so forth won't accept that because it's too dangerous for them. Why? Because they were hooked on opiates, downers, that kind of thing. And even if they're in extreme pain, it could be very dangerous for them to take opiates. A lot of addicts won't risk it, period. But for me, I had surgery. They cut me open. I was taking oxycodone. Never a problem for me. I didn't even know that it had any effect on me, really, except I wasn't in pain. I take a sleeping pill to go to sleep at night. I've been doing that for 20 years. And so far, I have not had a desire to take more than one sleeping pill or anything, right? Just it's what it is. But many times if you get into 12-step, and a lot of those guys, they're in recovery as well. They're afraid of everything. So they'll just say, just don't use nothing, and you ain't got to worry about it. Right? Y'all got any ideas on all this? How you doing, Missy Lane? Mm-hmm. With the clapping hands. Let me see. I don't see any comments here. Or you have questions? I'll answer some questions. It ain't like I ain't been around. I've been around. Lord, y'all know that I've been around. Oh, yeah. I've been looking around, and dope was there all the time. Excuse me. Moderation is the key. Well, moderation is the key if you're not an addict. If you're a drug addict, you ain't gonna have no moderation, right? You have moderation with certain drugs. Now, most people smoke weed these days, I think, right? Particularly young people, they smoke weed. People say, "Oh, it's gonna make you lazy. You're not gonna be ambitious." So what? You can't determine what my hopes and dreams are. I might feel like I want to cool out in the evening. As long as I'm paying my bills, I don't want to smoke some weed. So, baby, if I could smoke weed and be absolutely guaranteed by the universe, God himself, that I will not end up back on drugs, I would smoke it. It's a nice high, particularly if you ain't got to be nowhere. Now, if you got to be somewhere, it could become problematic. I only got fired twice in my whole lifetime, right? But both times it was because I would go on my lunch break and I'd smoke weed on my lunch break and come back 2 hours later, child. There's a lot of sitting around, like the person said, sitting around eating, honey. Everything seemed to be fine, whatever. And there might be periods when you're using, periods when you're smoking weed. You know, you were in college and you were doing speed to get your classes or whatever. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to become a meth head. You know, you were young, you were wild. When we noticed that, I mean, a lot of these people who are using, hopefully not hard drugs, but drugs in general, are young people. Most people won't get hooked, but some will, and some will just have a rough patch, right? I have family members like that. You know, they got in trouble a little bit in high school or whatever. They were doing what everybody else was doing, but they came out of it and they still drink wine or smoke weed, whatever they want to do in moderation, but they're not drug addicts. They're not prone to it. Some people are prone to it. Now, maybe Trezor had a point there when he talked about people gambling or whatever. What's he do? He does bingo or whatever. There are characteristics, you might say, of a person who is prone to be addicted to things. Compulsive shoppers, but not every compulsive shopper was ever an alcoholic or a crackhead. You know, so many vices out there. Yeah, but don't feel guilty if you're smoking weed. If you're smoking weed a little bit, child, and it's not affecting your life, I would make a big deal out of it. Something you're doing right now. Believe me, if you become an addict, it'll become real obvious to everybody around you. Maybe you'll be the last one to pick up on it, honey. And just stay away from hard drugs. Hard drugs, you know what they are. You know, now it's fentanyl, but it's also heroin. You know you're in trouble. First time you try heroin. But meth, crack, cocaine in general, you know, you still do those kind of drugs. It's not worth the risk. I want to feel good. I want to feel. Unfortunately, a lot of times people get hooked because they took some hard drug while they were drunk or high, right? For instance, me, I told you I was an alcoholic in my 20s, or I drank every night in my 20s. I was tired of being drunk. I didn't want to be drunk anymore because I didn't have a good time. I was always just drunk. You go there, you have 3 drinks, and then you're drunk, right? I didn't want to do that anymore. Somebody told me about crystal meth. I was in the club. I paid $10 for my first hit of crystal meth, right? $10. A month later, I was paying $80 a day, right? I would never have gotten hooked if I never tried meth. So you got to be careful, particularly when you're drunk and you're high and stuff. Don't let any people be offering you stuff, child. Mm-mm. I've done enough research with all that. And the thing is, it is an absolute non-issue. It has been since God delivered me in Vacaville State Prison. I have not had any desire at all to ever use drugs again. It is over. Now, how would I know that coming out of the prison, considering my background, my history? I believe it is a spiritual thing. You're not alone, right? You don't got to do something. You don't have to take something to make yourself feel better because you're going to feel better. Everything's going to pass, honey. Everything must change. Ooh. This too shall pass. Percocet. Be careful of them damn pills too, honey. That's another dangerous thing. Don't leave your opiate type pills and stuff, pain pills. Don't leave that in your medicine cabinet, right? These kids go experimenting and stuff. I remember my mama beat the shit out of me. This might be the last beating I ever got. We were living in the projects, and she had these pills. Now I forget I think they were diet pills or something like that. Anyway, I wanted to be a big shot at school, and I think I was in the 7th grade. Had to be about 12, and I had this little baggie, and I put all these pills in it. Right? I had never even done the pills or tried them or anything. Right? But I wanted to go in there, act like I was a drug dealer in school. Right? And my mama found those damn pills. She wore actually, she started to wear my ass out. but I ran. She found the pills. I forget where they were in my room. So she was searching my room. Apparently, I was only 12 years old, but we were in the projects, whatever. And just when she was trying to start to beat the shit out of me, I ran. And I ran all the way to the airport. Now, I have no idea where I thought I was going. I had no money. I was 12 years old. But the people at the airport called her. The security saw me hanging around the airport all night. They called her. She picked me up. And I never did receive that beating. But there was no drugs in the picture for the next, I don't know, so I was 21. Alcohol is more available than drugs. Absolutely. Any store. They get mad at the drug dealers. They think they're horrible monsters and need to be burned in hell and all that kind of shit, right? But what about the one selling alcohol? Should you burn him in hell too? He's doing the same thing. He's selling you something that could harm you. It ain't gonna harm everybody, but for alcoholics, he's selling them poison, right? But nobody gets mad at the damn. Well, some people. Sometimes it's just if you go into a neighborhood and you got more liquor stores than churches, then yeah, people are angry about that. But as a general rule, that's a legitimate business, taxable business, and now they're letting marijuana be that. I would say that the problem with weed, specifically just marijuana, is a lot less harmful than a problem with alcohol. Alcohol will destroy you. Mm-hmm. Internet addiction too, says Whole Grain. Hell yeah, they be on their child. Porn addiction. You can get hooked on all kinds of stuff, child. Strange sexual desires. I don't want to be hooked on nothing. I'm so glad I got my own. And I'm so glad that I can see. My life, it is a natural high. The man can't put no game on me. There's something kind of funny. How the man will take your money. Y'all young. Y'all don't even understand what the hell I be talking about, y'all. Mm-hmm. Uncle, what do you think about the update on Pelosi's husband and how they say he is DL and that the man was his lover? No, that ugly motherfucker. No, I think if Pelosi was DL and he wanted to pick somebody, he wouldn't pick that old. That boy looked crazy. I mean, he looked stupid. Whatever. Yeah, you can't believe everything, baby. No, so I haven't heard any of that scuttlebutt. I told y'all the story though about Pelosi. Nope, they're still not saying it. They're still saying that Pelosi was not in San Francisco, but I saw her that same day. They say since it's the political season, that she's on some kind of airplanes that take her. They're hitting 3 and 4 cities a day. So she might have been there then in the morning and then been gone by the evening somewhere else, back to Washington. It doesn't take a whole day to fly to Washington. She could be anywhere. But I definitely saw her that morning. I waved and smiled. We love Nancy Pelosi here, honey. This is a Democratic town. No, I think if that man wants to get him a something on the side, if he want to, I don't think that thing will be it. I really don't. He crazy. You saw he got his girlfriend on there. She looked crazy. His ex-girlfriend. Many have no teeth due to perks. Many have no teeth due to perks. They got no teeth due to meth too. Don't make me do it, girl. Don't make me do it, Tracy. I'll scare the shit out y'all. A lot of drugs will do that. Heroin does it too. You're grinding. You don't feel like you're grinding your teeth, but you're constantly grinding your grill and you're making them loose. So no, it's not unusual at all. I didn't know Percocet did that, but most drugs will do it. And then when you see a person and their teeth are all brown and messed up, and you assume that they're either drug addicts or ex-drug addicts. If they got 3 teeth, But that's the least of it, honey, because as you get to be a certain age, we're going to all have dental issues. Mine's always the same color because I'll put them in the jar, baby. Oh, I haven't seen it. Lieutenant Blanco. Uncle Tim, do you watch Interview with the Vampire? Where is that at? Is that on? I keep saying I'm going to see that. I saw the original stories and I read all the books. I think it's on Peacock, right? No, I haven't yet, Lieutenant Blanco, but I'm certainly going to see that. That's probably going to be the next series I watch. Sabri Brew. My brother has been free of crack 30 years, but about a year ago, he started smoking weed with his friends. He seems fine. I'm watching. Okay, pay attention. Yeah, so like I was saying about with that drug program, what they were saying, they believe that, yeah, you can go back and do the things you were doing before you ran into crack or you ran into meth or you ran into heroin. We're here to get you off of that drug, right? That's just a contractual kind of thing they were obligated to do. I think they call it harm reduction as but people who really understand addiction, we know that's bullshit, at least for real addicts. Addicts like me, honey, 17 years is a long time. Mr. Tim, your background looks like a picture frame. Oh, that's sweet. Thank you. Jay Wilson said, I got too many items. The persona. The designer, Jay Wilson. Stop, Timothy. Stop. Don't go there, honey. You could be addicted to people like Jay Wilson too, girl. I think I might have an issue. I got to go through a 12-step program for Jay Wilson. Doctor, you got to help me. You got to help me. I just want to punch her. I just want to punch her. No, Mr. Blaine, you can't punch anybody. Calm down. Breathe. He called the man his friend on 911 call. And when Paul had a DUI a little while ago, a unknown male passenger was seen fleeing. But why would he, whole grain, why would he break into the house through the window? Then when he just knock on the door and say, baby, I'm here. Why would he break out all the windows and go up there and knock that man in the head with a hammer? That doesn't make any sense to me. No, I don't believe. All these beautiful people they got in California, child, he could have pick anybody he want. He's a wealthy man. He's independently wealthy, aside from Nancy. When you have coin like that, you ain't gonna pick nobody who look like that fool. The man called him friend. There'll be all kind of stories come out, child. Some people gonna come up with stories just because they live in San Francisco. They think everybody in San Francisco gay. My nephew moved here, right? He was apprehensive. He said, I thought it was going to be gay. They keep telling me it's going to be gay. I said, we're not the majority here. They're just some of us here, but straight people are still the majority, honey. Else there wouldn't be no San Francisco. You have to procreate, appropriate. We had all kind of people here, honey. Nope. So I don't believe that story, whole grain. And you can expect other stories, weird stories to come through. You know how this internet shit is now. Mm-hmm. Connie, hey love, in your own way, in your own way. What else is going on here? What else y'all think? Anything else going on? On the night of Halloween, I know y'all like get a little taste of my addiction. The night of Halloween, Will came on and said, oh, I want to show y'all my outfit. I'm an outfit. I ain't gonna put them old sandals on. I ain't gonna put them old sandals on. So now So now Deanna has a picture up of him in his outfit when he got the Birkenstocks on. He got the whole damn outfit on. Wait a minute now. I want you guys to think back. You have been following me for a while, right? Wait a minute. Hold on. Now this fool. Hold on a second. Mm-hmm. Oh. 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 This man made a whole show out of when I got this see it? This statue right here, right? Extremely expensive statue. When I got it, she said she act like I'm a white supremacist or something because I've had a picture of because I had a statue of Julius Caesar. Does the outfit look familiar to you? This is what he was making fun of me for having, right? Do you see the sandals even? Everybody has the sandals, girl. He tried to clown me for having a statue or bust of Julius Caesar. Then she gonna take her big ass over there. Oh, I gotta put her laying down. They're doing a tour of my apartment. I got a lot of shit, different stuff changed or move stuff around. You know, you can do it. I don't like to do it. I like the idea of a timeless room. Baby, come on. You were doing so good. Get it bum over here. Get it bum. Sit it right there. Put the bum. There you go. I know it's dinner time. And he made such a big thing out of me having a Julius Caesar bust, right? I guess she thought I was supposed to have an African bust instead. And here this bitch got dressed from head to toe like Julius Caesar, except for the sandals. Now, the sandals, according to him, came with the outfit, right? And we've all been speaking about them feet for a while now. So, Jay Wilson, why didn't you wear the sandal and make the outfit complete instead of wearing these damn beach shoes with your Julius Caesar outfit, right? And even the beach shoes, you still got shoe in the front and foot laying on the ground in the back. So you can imagine what them sandals look like on his feet. So anyway, Deanna Irvin got the picture of him in his outfit, and she also has the picture of the actual outfit, which is identical to the one he purchased, but he decided to leave the shoes off and put these damn they look like trailer trash. I mean, the outfit would have just been the same as on the model. The model was beautiful. But when he changed the shoes to these house shoes or these beach shoes, it cheapified the whole damn thing, right? And so he's out here with Julius Caesar and Birkenstocks that don't fit. Be quiet, boy. I guess the Birkenstocks are the closest thing he could get to a sandal in his house. I found that amusing. Baby, are you having a heart attack or is there a serious problem going on? Will you be quiet, please? You okay? You gonna go in the dungeon? Leave me alone, Daddy. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me go. I'm gonna go and feed my dog. I'm gonna go and feed my dog. Okay, he done dressed up like one. Ain't that a bitch though? Gonna dress up like one. What's wrong? What's wrong with when I bought mine, girl? I can't have a Julius Caesar bust, but your ass can get in the whole outfit of him, girl. What happened to the black love? You gotta have the black love, nigga. It was them bare paws and them sandals that did it. He said they're all proud. Nigga, we all looking at the feet, girl. You would have think that whoever you had take the picture, you would have told them to keep that camera off my feet. Don't show nothing from the knee down, baby. Mm-hmm. Shoes just look ridiculous. And then the Birkenstocks don't even fit. Why is he so insistent on putting on these Birkenstocks when they obviously do not fit his feet? And they show us how huge and chunky the ankles are. and they show us that he can't get a foot inside of there. Why would you continue to put that on? When you came back from Las Vegas, you were supposed to go in your backyard and throw them damn Birkenstocks in the garbage. Throw them in the garbage, child. When I think of Jay Wilson feet, I think of them damn shoes that Aretha Franklin was wearing. What's she called? You better think about what you're trying to do to me, or trying those kind of shoes. That's what he needs to wear, because there's an inner woman in Jay Wilson, right? He couldn't wait for an opportunity to get in the dress. How can I be a man in my costume and still wear a skirt, a dress? She couldn't wait, baby. Toes looking like Southern Smoke Links. What? His toes were looking like Southern Smoke Links in them shoes. What was he so afraid of lacing them up? Because he said his feet is flat like that, right? And I guess that sandal didn't offer any kind of support, but a Birkenstock has only got just a slight arch in it inside the shoe, right? So maybe that's what is most comfortable for him. I don't understand it, child. I do not understand it. Why'd you destroy your outfit? He think his shoes look like Jesus Christ shoes. No, you're doing Julius Caesar, boy. I thought you believed in the black love. Shouldn't you have African sandals on, nigga? Hi, Shakira. I'm wild, child. Lord have mercy. All right. Thank y'all for coming on in. I hope that was an interesting conversation. I thought it, well, of course, I'm going to find it interesting because I lived it, Stay away from hard drugs, people. If you smoke weed, don't feel guilty about you smoke weed. If you don't want to smoke weed no more, just don't do it. There's going to come a time where you just, it's not interesting to me anymore, as you become people of a certain age. Most older, people, we're not smoking weed, honey. It's a young thing. Anyway, you enjoyed the show, but that's the point. Thank you, guys. I'm so glad we had this time together just to have a laugh, sing a song. Seems we just got started now. Before you know it, comes the time we have to say so long.